Hello. Today I'm going to be drawing this brown-black spider. The photo is by James Reben. It's a really good photo. I really like it because, one, you could kind of see the underhanging connections to the cephalothorax, which is like the head and thorax fused. Um, Sometimes I feel like with spiders, it's kind of difficult to see that underhanging. And some spiders do a good job at like hiding some of their legs. I'm not sure if it's like a defense thing. Other spiders will do that intentionally to try to look like another insect, or like an ant, for example. They're called ant mimics. So to start off, whenever I do these, I try to summarize the initial main parts into either like straight lines, C curves, S curves, some ellipse, or like even a shape. Like I think in this case, when I'm looking at the spider, his head is very. It's kind of shaped like a clover. I keep thinking of a clover, or maybe like a lily pad, if you're familiar with those. But I'm gonna draw a ball for it first. And I'll eventually summarize it more as I go. Now I'm going to draw the abdomen. I think that is a good summarizing shape. So now I'm going to draw the pilot holes for the legs, and I really like this spider. He has some like pretty interesting connections for his legs. And I always found drawing the two back legs, those are like the hardest things to do, more often than not, because I feel like they're always hidden. And like all of these connections, like when you look at this image, you could really see all of the connections, or like the initial bean shaped things right here. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, this is my application, Thumbtastic. It's free. There's a link in the description for it. If you draw digitally, it's extremely helpful. So to do the pilot holes for the legs, I'm going to do that here. And in the past, I would jump around a lot, and I was thinking that maybe it would be better for me to handle the legs first, because I feel like when I would add a lot of to the structure layer, I would sometimes be working around obscured stuff. So like to draw things that are the hardest to see behind other things, maybe a good idea for me to go forward. So I'm actually going to do that in this video and see how it turns out, and we'll see if I'm going to eat my words. So I'm going to draw some initial gestural lines for the legs. So like I have a direction to go with them. And I'm also trying to like maintain certain proportions. And I think I went a little bit too far with that leg. I think it's to about there. It's like a little cap off at each leg. It's more... That one's really straight. I made it too curved. And I'm trying to do more comparisons. Like, I think it should have gone out even more. Even like that. And it seems like this leg should actually be further down by just a smidge. So now for this leg, which is really close to that one, And in my opinion, the legs seem to be the hardest thing to draw on any insect, and I think knocking those out of the way is a lot less stressful. Like, I want to take head on the stuff that I struggle with. Because I've realized in a lot of my videos, I would do them, and then I would spend some time maybe erasing them because I didn't like how they were going. And not because I was trying to hide my mistakes in any way, which clearly it should have been more like that. Not that I'm trying to hide my mistakes, but I'm trying to point them out. Which is something important that I try to do in my videos. I think being able to spot your mistakes is an extremely important thing. In the past, when I would do anything, I think not being able to see where I was going wrong was kind of an issue. Because, hey, the best thing is if you could point out your mistakes, and you may need to look at it with fresh eyes to do so, but heck, you could be your own teacher to a certain extent. Like, I'm not saying you always have to do that, and now that I look at this leg, I made it way too far out. But being able to spot your own mistakes is extremely important. I feel like if you think of it like if you were taking a class, you would have a mentor or a teacher look at your stuff and be able to help you with that. Like, I may do a session, I don't know if people want it. Maybe I could try to critique people's bugs if they want me to. I used to do that in the past for free, believe it or not, just to try, well, not bugs, but other exercises, and I kind of got a bit burned out doing it. The other thing is I needed to improve my skills in some way. Should be closer. Yeah. No, I think I made that end line just a little too far. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing for the legs. And I think I want to kind of try to get the initial bean shape. Like, there's like this initial bean shape connecting like the first nub to each leg. And I'm seeing it like consistent. It's consistently throughout. And like, if you ever look on the bottom of a spider, it's very interesting because they're all these, they're kind of like gumdrops. I don't know why I keep thinking, or like, if you ever have seen the candy called Dots, I always think of Dots when I see their legs. I'm pretty sure they don't taste like Dots, not that I would eat a spider. And now that I look at this leg, I think it should have been going out more, which is really frustrating. What was I thinking? Like, seriously, like, what was I thinking? Because it's more like that direction, or thinner. I don't know why I'm having so many of those. It's extremely frustrating. Perhaps it's because I'm talking at the same time, and I've always wondered if perhaps the reason why I tend to make some of these mistakes is because I just haven't been trying to provide what I'm seeing and saying it out loud at the same time, and I'm more used to working in like a reclused environment. That very well could be what I'm used to, and that's what's kind of throwing me off a little bit. And then that last leg is very like that. And then the other legs are a bit obscured, but I'm trying to take like a bit of an educated guess when I do those initial connections. And perhaps one day I'll do a video of the underside of a spider, and you will all like see what I mean of these initial connecting parts. Okay, so I think first, it's very interesting because the segments that I'm seeing is like relatively curvy one. It kind of looks like I don't know, like maybe like a femur, but it's like fatter near the top and thins out. If I could do it. No, still don't like that shape. It's a bit fatter near the top and kind of thins out near the bottom. And I'm seeing that consistently with most of the legs. And perhaps I will try to do it more systemically. Because darn, I think that this leg should have been way more, it should have been different. Like, let me show you. This leg should have been like up a little bit higher. In my opinion, for doing that connection. Because when I'm seeing that connect, and I'm still gonna do this wrong because there's like a good flat layer. There's like a good area of flatness. Well, you know what? Maybe that does work. Because like I'm seeing kind of like a ball shape before it like kind of gets wider. Like the ball shape is like significantly large. I guess I could work with that. But that's the initial shape that I'm seeing for that one. In this instance, it's a bit obscured by perspective, but like it seems like the ball shape is a bit larger, but it does kind of thin out as it connects to the initial nub. This one, it kind of ends about, that's a bit too long, about there. Kind of like that. This one goes up a little, which is interesting. And now that I look at the leg again, I feel like it should be going a bit higher than how I initially put that gestural line. Kind of like that. The one over here, really interesting shape. Kind of like that. The one here, it's very, it seems a bit straighter. Kind of does like have a bump off initially, but then kind of tapers off. The one here is like very far outstretched. It seems a bit longer. The one here like kind of curves back a bit to about there. Well, there's also a bit of a segment that I'm not really seeing too much of, so maybe I'm a bit wrong on that one. No, I think I kind of see it like bulge out a bit before it. Kind of like that. But then you would think that it should connect to that nub. So maybe I didn't make it long enough to connect to it. Okay, now for the other part. The other part is like it's like a matchstick that keeps getting a little bit thinner. So this matchstick ends just a little after the abdomen, and it goes really far. It's very thin as it connects. The one here, it's interesting because I feel like you can kind of see the ellipse, which kind of aligns with that one a little bit. As you can tell, I'm trying to like use my own drawing to make other comparisons where things should be, kind of referencing the thing I drew. Reference to reference, which I feel like in itself could have its own set of dangers. And I'm kind of like drawing it like two sides kind of concave. This one kind of follows through. This one kind of is a bit more straight. Well, not really. Kind of still a little bit of a concave to it. Connects to that leg. Now this one kind of like goes a little bit past. I hope I'm doing this right. I see it just a little bit past that leg to about here. To about there. This one goes to about here, kind of like at the abrupt end. This one kind of goes to like, I think to about there. That one goes to about there. Yeah, about there. And there's kind of an interesting ball. I wonder if I'm kind of leaving that out. That there's kind of like, I'm seeing this initial kind of ball-like shape. I'm wondering if I forgot to do that. It's kind of like a double ball hinge thing. So I will add those back in. So yeah, always at that midpoint, even though I didn't really see it over here. No, I could kind of see them. Oh, it was a bit blurred. I see. So I'm seeing like a double ball-like thing around all those things. It kind of like goes around that ellipse. It's very small, very, very subtle. I hope I'm not making them too big. But I do want to show how they're wrapping around that ellipse. I keep thinking of it like a ball joint of some sort. And because it's small, if you really can't tell what I'm doing, I'm going to draw it to the side for you. Because what I'm kind of seeing is like around all of those connection points, there's like an ellipse. And I see like this ball, these little ball things that kind of connect it. So I was like drawing like a ball that like wraps around the ellipse, kind of like that. Then I was also doing one for the upside as well. Kind of like two acorns merged together, or like you could think maybe like one is a bit concave in and the other one just mashes right into it, sort of. Now the last part of all of these legs seems like really easy because it's well, easier said than done. But they're very straight. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. They're actually like two segments because it's like a tapering matchstick. Oh man, I'm sure glad I looked closer at that. So it's about halfway, and I'm seeing that through a lot of them. I mean, it's really an ellipse just based on, like, if you look here, I drew a line, but to be honest, that's just an ellipse. If you think of like if you think of a penny, turn to its side, it kind of looks like that. Kind of looks like a line. I mean, I know it really looks more like a thing like this. You know, pennies do have a bit of thickness to it. If you have looked, or a dime, or I don't know, whatever coin you have in your possession. If you have coin. Oh, okay. So here I want to do a little ellipse. It's about here. These ones over here, it's a bit difficult to tell. I may just have to kind of guesstimate a bit. It could just be the perspective is kind of distorting it a little bit, so I'm just going to make it really subtle. And sometimes you get that, like, I don't know, this leg is a little bit blurred. I mean, overall, like, I really like this photo, but, you know, sometimes you do have things that are a little bit out of focus, or the lighting isn't perfect, and it's very hard to get that lighting, because I feel like some shadow is good, but sometimes people will get other shadow that maybe obscures some stuff. So now I'm going to show you how I'm going to stop talking about that and show you how these kind of connect. And when I think of these matchstick legs, they're kind of like, think of like a matchstick that's kind of like that. It's kind of like tapering in a little bit, and there's the ellipse up here that it like connects to, because it's like, you know, these forms are connected. I guess you could think of it like stacked cups. If you know what a solo cup is, it's like a red cup. They're popular at parties. I'm working down here, by the way, if you can't tell. But yeah, it's very important for these connections. Like, you always want to show how these forms are all connected to one another. Now for this one... Okay, now for the ending caps, which are so thin. I mean, sometimes I'm really amazed at, like, I see as many legs on spiders as I do. Just because they haven't, like, fallen. I mean, I guess they know what they're doing. So I should trust them on that. I mean, I have seen injured insects before that survive the storm. Oh, I think I made the cap on this leg a little bit too big. Because the legs, as they go down, there's a good deal of, tapering. And when I say tapering, I'm not sure if I made it clear enough, but if you could think of, like, a cylinder, right? Well, in perspective, as it goes further away, the bottom, or, like, there's going to be some bottom ellipse that, it's going to be a smaller, not only is it a smaller diameter, but it's, like, well, yeah, smaller diameter, because it's farther away from us. If you think of, like, a can of soda in front of you, kind of like that. And the more I do these videos, I find it really funny how much spit I get on my tablet. Always keep a cloth handy. I made the cap over here a bit too big as well. I think the problem when I added the caps at the end, I didn't consider, like, I should have looked at my reference image here before just making them whatever I needed them to be. Okay, we have the legs done, which is the hard part that I find, just because it's a spider. Next, I want to put a little focus on the abdomen. So if you look over here, there's kind of like a bit of a sharpness to the end of it. Well, it's not really a sharpness. I mean, spiders don't have stingers on their abdomen. They have web spinners. Usually two, I believe. We can't see it all based on perspective. They're always different. I've seen some spiders have the connection being a lot more clear, but it happens. So I also want to see if there's like a little bit of, like, I don't know, cartilage glue between the cephalothorax and abdomen. Now I want to add the shape on top. So this is kind of the reason why I wanted to do the legs first, because when you look at the shape of our spider, like the head, it's like a bit of like a clover thing. Like, it kind of goes a bit like that as it wraps around the abdomen. kind of goes out a little bit. Like, I'll draw it off, I'll draw it over here for you, but it's kind of like that. I keep thinking like a lily pad shape, or even like an art palette, like, you know, the things that painters will hold. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And, you know, it does a good job at covering a little portion of the nubs. So also here, I'm pretty sure, well, you know, of course, you're going to have the Chaucerian polypulps. So I didn't draw the polypulps, I believe is what they are. I'm going to draw little pilot holes for them. Then I'm going to go to the gesture layer and try to draw them a little bit. Kind of like that. And I'm going to put an end cap while I'm looking at the image for that. I don't believe it's a proboscis, or maybe it is. Hard for me to tell. Now I'm going to do the other one, which is right here. It should have been down more. Kind of like that. Then an end cap for that. Now I can't see all of the eyes. I see like an eye here. I think spiders generally have 8 eyes, but I'm just gonna draw the ones that I see. I hate to do that. Maybe I should look at another piece of reference. Maybe I'll do that in a minute. But actually, I'm gonna draw the, I believe it's polypulps, and it should have been up more. And I'm gonna draw little ellipses to connect it all. And it's an interesting shape I'm seeing here. It's kind of like a bit of a tapering bean about right here. Like, I'll do that one first. Gets a bit wider as it goes. Then it kind of just connects. I may have made it a bit longer than reality. Now I want to draw, I see that eye. Like, it's kind of like right, let me make it smaller. Kind of seeing like an eye there. And there's another eye, or, you know, I'm sorry, it's actually a little bit higher. And I'm seeing another eye, but it's kind of like wrapping around the form of the head. It's a bit more bulbing. Or, you know what, maybe it's even like pushed further. It's actually like over here. It's a bit hard to see because I'm really drawing over forms, but it's kind of like over here. And I don't mean to make it merge with the, it's either Chauceri or polypulps. But it's kind of like that. A bit more rounded out. But yeah, I think I could see some of it. Like, maybe right there about. Something like that. But yeah, that's our spider dude. Maybe I should have made that area where it kind of dips in a little bit more clear, because it does like dip in to make that a lily pad shape. Although a bit hard to see. I'm going to use a thicker line real quick to kind of show you better what I was talking about. It's kind of like right there. I wanted to put a focus on that because it's an interesting head shape with our spider. But yeah, I'm not going to draw the eyes on this one. I couldn't find any other reference for it. So if I did have another reference, give me 1 second and I'll try to look for it and see if I could plot out where the eyes on this guy is. I should definitely pay more attention to the eyes. I think that's an important part, and considering spiders have so many eyes. Oh, another interesting thing. I looked at another reference, and it kind of looks like near the center, there's kind of like a, how do I put it? So I've seen scorpions before, and they kind of have like a, kind of like a helmet that kind of goes a bit like that and that, kind of like goes around, kind of like a crab shell. And I think I didn't do a good job at showing that separation. It's so hard to see, but I think it kind of bulges out a little bit as it wraps around the eyes. Perhaps I'm not seeing it right. The last thing I wanted to get, which is extremely subtle, I believe it's the, I don't know if they're mandibles. They're like something like that. Based on the perspective, it's kind of like that as it connects to the head. I'm pretty sure there's another one, but based on the perspective, we really can't see it all that much, but it's probably like somewhere over there. Something like that, but I don't want to draw it the wrong way or lead you astray, so I'll leave you with the advice of always find multiple pieces of reference if you can. And I looked at another photo of this guy on the internet, this spider, and I'm still having a bit of a hard time seeing exactly where his chompers are. And to be honest, now that I'm looking at other images of him, I'm starting to see even, like maybe I didn't push this shape enough. Maybe that shape of it kind of coming in should have been more. It's a very shiny spider, and perhaps I should have pushed the length of the spider, because like if I'm seeing if I'm looking at his shape again, it's kind of like that right here, if you can see it. That's the head shape that I'm seeing. So I guess that kind of shows you how perspective kind of could change your viewpoint of your reference and kind of make it look like something else. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful to you. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. If you have a question, please ask it in the comments. And yeah, special shout out to James Reben for this photo. It's a really good one. And I didn't draw all of the hair on this guy. I mean, this guy, he has a very hairy abdomen, and his legs have a lot of hair on it as well. But yeah, I like this image. I'll work on another view of him in the future to give a fuller picture. But yeah, thanks. Bye.